So, hi everyone. My name is Alex or Alejandro Gonzalez. I'm the lead Adobe evangelist here on campus. And what we're going to do today is talk about using Adobe Stock. Has anybody here downloaded an image or anything else from Stock? Show a thumbs up or use the chat. Thumbs up. Cool. Cool. So Adobe Stock, this workshop's not going to be very long. It's just going to be showing you a few navigational tips, some filtering. There's always plenty of time for questions while I'm talking. Feel free to chat, to unmute. This is a more informal than formal. So I'm going to show you a few things, talk a little bit about the license. I'll also talk about how you can get premium assets as well. But Adobe Stock is one of my favorite tools that we get to use here at the U of A. It's kind of invaluable because you can lose a lot of time trying to find a good image to pair with your presentation. Maybe it's something, a cover for an advertisement that you're working on, just elements that you need for some design that you're making. And instead of, first of all, trying to find images on the internet in general where you're not sure what your rights to them are or the quality of them, you know that you're allowed to use these within specific parameters. And also it saves you time from trying to create your own, take your own photographs, draw your own designs or anything like that. See if it's already in existence on Adobe Stock. So I know that I have saved a ton of time and have been able to make really nice looking projects thanks to Adobe Stock. So while you're a part of the U of A, I really suggest you get in there and use it and abuse it and go crazy. Does everybody here already have their Creative Cloud license that's you get through the university website? Cool. If you don't, you won't have access to Stock. So if you remember in the past, you used to go and request Adobe Stock access and we would add you to a profile. But when we renewed our contract, we got unlimited access to standard assets, which is the second thing we're going to talk about. But you have to have a CC license, which is free. You just have to click on the request a CC license button here. So hopefully you have this web page that I built for you all. I'll drop the recording right above the welcome here if there's anything you'd like to revisit. And this is your resource. Let me get someone in here real quick. All right. So this is what Stock looks like. I'll probably just be demonstrating mostly from the actual web page. That's my preferred way to do it. It is integrated to some of the heavy hitters. InDesign, Illustrator, Photoshop all have Adobe Stock integrations where you can license on the fly or you can access through your libraries, which is what I would recommend. All right, so let's go ahead and sign out for a second here. Before we jump into anything else, I just want to make sure everyone's clear that when we go to stock.adobe.com and when we sign in, if you sign in and you don't see unlimited images, it's either because you haven't requested a license or because you didn't quite sign in correctly. So we're always going to put our email.uarizona.edu address in here. We're never going to use Google. So we'll click continue. And then there's another opportunity here to be persuaded to click the wrong one. We're going to use company or school account. And you know you're golden if you see WebAuth show up, because that means you're accessing the account that we made for you, not one that you may have made yourself. Anyway, that's how you get into Stock, and you should see unlimited images up here in the top right. You won't see credits, sorry. All right, let's check this out. So first and foremost, our Stock license agreement is called an education license. And basically, whatever you're working on has to be connected to the university in some way. Student projects, I think, have a lot more flexibility with that idea, because if it could be a project you made for a class, then you can use Stock all you want. But for faculty and staff, It just has to be related to the enterprise. And I'm not a copyright specialist, so if you have more questions, I would suggest clicking here and reading in deeper, or talking to our librarians. They tend to have a lot of knowledge about usage rights. The other thing that I like to mention here is I put the Penn State free media library. I know we're talking about Adobe Stock, but I also like for us to be resourceful. And Penn State has created this library of mostly Creative Commons files. So there's some information about copyright, but you can find free sources for images, audio, video, and even 3D assets. So they kind of break down license type, and tips for using them. So if you can't find something on Adobe Stock, maybe it has a paywall, it's a premium asset, I would try and find something similar here, but then we'll also talk about how you can request them. Are there any questions about our image license in general? For the most part, if it's for the university, you can do almost anything with the files you find here. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about actually licensing stuff. So our university Creative Cloud license that you can request for free gives you unlimited downloads of what are called standard assets. And standard assets are the first three categories here: photos, illustrations, and vectors. Basically two-dimensional assets. Although there will be premium ones within there that you might have to pay for as well. It's kind of depends. But as an example, you can see here a photograph of a saguaro, a watercolor of a saguaro, and a vector graphic of a saguaro. All three of these are within our standard license. And to license an image, it's pretty straightforward. You find the blue button, and you click on it, and then you click license. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like here. Anybody itching for a search term? Otherwise, I'll search for donuts. All right, I'm going for donuts. Never sure what the best way to spell it is, but I'm going to keep it here. So if we see here, we're searching inside all, but it's mostly giving me images. And one thing I'd like for you to notice is the very first image is already licensed. So that means you're actually not even going to license something that says that. You're going to click on it and you'll be able to just go ahead and download it because somebody else already licensed it through our university shared contract. So that's a cool thing to consider. And any other ones, are any of these really talking to me? I mean, these are cute, some little donut icons. So I can see I clicked on the image or on the license button and it says, this is under my education license. When I click it, it's going to go ahead and show me the confirm license screen. A lot of people check this box by accident. There is almost no situation where you're going to need to apply the license to someone else. So here you just chase that blue button again. And at that point, it might give you an option because this is a vector. If I want the Illustrator file, which is really great, I can get the actual Illustrator file, and this will be a vector image with different groups and objects that I can go and manipulate and change the colors. If I just want the picture, I can choose a JPEG. Let's go ahead and download the Illustrator file. And I'll open it. Let's see what Illustrator looks like. And here's the file I just downloaded. And we can see I could go in and change the color if I wanted to a lighter blue. So these vector assets are incredibly useful too. You can go and manipulate them. I could go and make one oblong if I wanted to, but I don't want to. That's not what we're doing today. So that's just downloading one asset at a time. And you can also really filter your results, which is the next section I wanted to talk about. So if we look at our page here, you can filter your search results in pretty special ways that most other stock image sites don't offer. There's subcategory, which will let you choose photo, vector, illustration, video, audio, template, and I think there was one more. I can't think of a template. Undiscovered, you can choose undiscovered and it'll show things that have less downloads or maybe newer so that you know you're not using an asset that has been used hundreds of thousands of times. You can choose your orientation. I guess I'll show you this in stock. So let's go ahead and go over here. If I want to filter, it's on the left-hand side here. It says filters. And here's asset type. You can choose all images, videos, templates, and 3D. And when you click within those, it gives you more filtering options. So if I go to images, it takes a second. Oh, then subcategories down here, it will say, do you want all images or do you want specifically illustrations? So now all of these are illustrations. Oh, that's a nice one. Let's go back to all here. You can filter out premium if you don't want to run into anything that you can't just license immediately. There's your orientation, horizontal, vertical, square. You can even find panoramas if you're looking for a nice panoramic image. Images with copy space, what this means is they'll have a lot of negative space that is perfect for you to add your text to. So if we look here, I think there's 2 images that fit that description, maybe 3. This one, and this one. So if I check that, it will filter and give me only images that have that nice negative space where I can really have some work for my space for my text. Let's put that back. Depth of field describes the background. If you have default, it's not going to search anything. And if you go all the way to the right, it's going to find images with a nice blurry background with what we call a shallow depth of field. There we go. So that's a nice tool too. Vivid color is a beta one that lets you find images that are either strong saturated colors or with low desaturated colors or in between. So if I go to low, they'll be almost gray. So we find these really muted colors, which can be helpful for your searches. You can choose if you want people in there. And generally speaking, we're not using editorial licensed work. If you get anything that has an editorial license, it means you can't make any changes to it whatsoever. You can choose isolated assets. That means the background has been removed. You can even choose a specific color. If I wanted only turquoise donuts or images that had turquoise in them. So I have said, I want people in them and I want horizontal. And you can really drill down to find images that are going to work for whatever your project is, which is super nice. You can also specify the size if you need them to be bigger than a certain dimension. You don't really need to worry about them being smaller because you can make them smaller too. This is the basic filtering panel. Do we have any questions about that? I think you can really just what you see is what you get with it. But I've met a lot of people that didn't realize it existed and how much time it can really save you because you can get really lost in an image search. You can find yourself on page 42 and say, oh boy, this is a good one. Oh, cool. Okay. And of course, stock photography is always super interesting because people are making almost random images that they hope somebody will want to use, which is an interesting way to work. All right, let's go back home here. The next thing I want to talk about is in the same vein of filtering, but it's by doing an image search. So that's called a visual search. And basically what you can do this 2 ways. You can drop in your own image, or you can use an image that is on stock. So for example, I don't know, let's just put Tucson here. Let's say I like this image of this kind of barrio front door. If I want to find more images like it, well, first, there's more from the series if I want to find work from the same photographer, because that's probably going to give me similar aesthetics. but I can also, underneath the image, click Find Similar. And what that's going to do is find images that are similar in all attributes, which are content, color, and composition. Or I can specify, I just want images with the same composition. And it's pretty powerful because it uses Adobe Sensei to analyze the images, see what's in them, and find other similar compositions. So we're finding a lot of doors, and it's working pretty well. Another pretty cool thing is you can do by content. Give it a second. And I can say, I want pictures of this prickly pear. And now it's going to find based on the content of that image. So you don't even have to rely on entire images. It's finding some fairly relevant images, in my opinion. And so here's the Find Similar tab. I can go up to the filters, and I can continue to filter this even more to say I only want vertical. And I'm looking for, I don't know, no people, and I could keep drilling it down to find something that works for me. So that's finding an image that is already based on an image that's in stock. But you can also upload your own. So let me just go ahead and go home here. And it's kind of nice. You don't have to do much of anything. What's this? You can just drag an image and it will automatically enter the Find Similar mode. When you upload your image, it's going to look pretty much like the Find Similar search that we did with an existing one. So I uploaded this picture of David Hockney. And the only thing is it looks like this content dots only show up on built-in images that have been analyzed, but that's okay. So I found a bunch of fellas with hats in greenish backgrounds. And if I was looking for images that visually pair nicely with this one, I might just choose color because I'm trying to just go based on my color palette. And I could say, I'm looking to add vectors. No, let's do illustrations. And that's going to give me all these illustrations that have the same color palette as the image that I uploaded, which is also really nice. Are there any questions about finding similar images? And if they come up later, they can come up whenever you have them. So now what I want to talk about is maybe you're working on a big project and you're finding like 15 images that you're going to work for. It can be a little tedious to click license one at a time and download it and then keep looking. If you're like me, I like to work in batches. I like to select my images, license them all at once, and then start working with them. So Stock does have a workflow for that, and you do it with your libraries. And that's the next section here that says libraries and licensing multiple assets. So instead of clicking the license button, you're going to click on the heart. And when you click on the heart, it will add it to your default library, which if you haven't made any, it's just going to be called default. But also when you click on that, that's going to be your opportunity to create a new library as well, which is not the most intuitive way. You can make libraries in several different places, but clicking the heart lets you select which library you're saving to at that moment. So it's an okay workflow, but let's check it out. And there's also a video here that demonstrates it as well. So if I go back to stock and I'm finding illustrations that speak to me, instead of licensing, I'll click the heart. This seahorse is just really reaching out to me, this lizard. Actually, most of these things are visually difficult to look at, but that's okay. And I'm just clicking that heart, and you can see in the top right, it says saving to default library, which I made one called stock demo. But if you wanted to be saving to a different one, you click that manage button. You can choose a different one, or in that moment, you can make a new library, which I'm not going to because I already have one. And let's say let's just add some random images here. I'm going to click the heart on this, and part of this process, you should choose ones that you're having trouble deciding in between, because then you can see them all together and make your decision later. Because I haven't licensed anything. All I've done is put them into a library. You can also view it bigger and then click Save to Library here as well. Yeah, that should be plenty of images. So now let's go look at that library and see how we can license them all at once. Really. So I'm going to go to Stock Demo. I think something confusing happened, but we're not going to worry about it. And that's the library that I selected. You can see the things I added here, and there are some older things in here. Some of these are already licensed, so I can just go ahead and download them. I can actually wasn't sure if I could download several at a time. So you can't click that check mark. That's funny. There. I just zoomed in. I pressed Command plus. Well, I'm gonna have to complain about that. Anyway, if I'm ready to license these, so say I don't really, this Christmas one doesn't make sense, I can remove it from my library just by clicking delete. And then any of these that I want to, I just check them. I like this dog too. This is interesting. And I click license. And instead of licensing them one at a time, I can get them all in one fell swoop. So I'll click license again. I think it can do 25 at a time. So, stop yourself after about 25 and go and do your licensing and then continue. The only thing, I didn't download them all. I just licensed them, but I could just re-download right here. And that's also a faster process than doing them one at a time. So here they come in my downloads folder. I think this is that splash of juice. Pretty good. The other thing I'll show you, what's going on in my Photoshop here. That's fine. So Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, I think Premiere Pro even, they access your libraries. So here in Photoshop, if I go from adjustments to libraries here, I can click back and I can find Stock Demo 331, and I can find all of these images. I can also find the ones that I haven't licensed, and I can license them straight through Photoshop. So you can build your library out on stock.adobe.com and decide through the other applications as well. There's a window that popped up somewhere that I can't see. Oh, that looks good. Shopping cart's supposed to license it, but I think my internet is blocking it somehow. But the ones that I licensed, I can just click and drag onto here, and they will be these full quality images that I can do my design with, my work. It's pretty good. I wonder if this is a 3D render. Doesn't matter. Any questions so far? Is this interesting, helpful? Cool. Good. I think it's super useful. And there's only one more thing to mention today. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And that's premium assets. When we renewed our license with Adobe, we purchased a set number of premium credits, which let you download things that are not standard assets, photos, illustrations, and vectors. So that can be videos, music files, templates, 3D files, premium images. Some images are just considered premium and you have to pay credits for them. And generally, things tend to be from 5 credits for most templates and 3D objects, 40 credits for most short videos and audio. And I think premium, like premium stuff comes like 125 credits. So what we're working on, this hasn't been fully implemented, but I'm going to try and do a premium asset request form. where if you do your due diligence, if you tried looking in the free media library and you didn't find anything that fit your needs, and it's something that other people would benefit from having access to, we're going to license it for you. And what's really nice is anything that I license, when you look at it on stock.adobe.com through your own account, you can also download. Yeah, it is cool. I think it's cool too. So there's a link here that says request a premium asset. For whatever reason, when I click that in Chrome and I'm signed in to WebAuth, it doesn't open the form. But this is what the form looks like. This logo is supposed to be justified to the left, and that's bothering me, but that's okay. So use this form to request templates, videos, audio, and other assets that are not considered, got some edits to do, standard. Before requesting, make sure you have your CC license. So you'll tell me your name, Alex, no, my last name. My last name's G, my first name's Alex, my net ID is AlexGG. I primarily am staff, optional, which college, none. I'm in digital learning. And then right here is probably the most important part. Thanks for joining, Garrett. So this will be on that website if you want to catch this, but this was the end of it anyway. So have a really nice day. If you have a premium asset that you like, you need to share with this form the file number. So let's look at stock. What's that? Nope. Just moving around here. Here we go. So if I go to videos and I search for, I've been searching for donuts. Let's see what kind of donut videos we find. I know what I'm having for lunch. All right, so let's say this video is one that we want to license. You can see I'm always going to license the 4K one because they cost the same. But here's the file number. So you can just copy that into the form. Tell me very shortly why. Because donuts, yum. And who's the intended audience, which could be, other staff, people in my class, a client, anything like that. So then when you submit, it's going to go to me, and within a couple of days, I'll say, hey, I licensed it for you, or hey, this is not quite something we can license. But I think this is exciting because there's a lot of really great premium assets. I especially love templates. There's templates for a lot of things. I think there's even like website layout ones, but there's email, there's resumes, which would be something that would be good to use for students or share with student workers, any career development situations. But some of them are Illustrator, InDesign. It's usually just those two. I've seen random ones that are Photoshop, but it'll tell you what application the template's for. Motion graphics templates are also really good. These are your little video intros and transitions, and you can load these motion graphics templates into Premiere Rush or Premiere Pro. So if you aren't liking the transitions that you have available, you can find these other ones. And you can see a lot of these we've already licensed because our video teams use them. So if you were to search motion graphics template, you'll see you can get any of the ones that already say licensed without requesting it. And that's the gist of our 30 minutes. I did 28 minutes about Adobe Stock. I think it's super useful. I hope you've got some ideas on how to go use it on your own. The time that's left is yours to ask questions or to go on with your day. And thank you for being here.